the students had to choose one. So in order to not have the same today, I am going to tell you the ones, you have three options, okay?
Okay.
So the first one that we have is Stoneman syndrome. This one, you can see
Okay.
this one. It says Stoneman syndrome, okay? That is the name of the syndrome. We also have, let's see, we have...
These are the ones that are free to choose,
yes,
right?
yes.
Okay.
You can choose Stoneman syndrome, you can choose parasitic twin, or you can choose human werewolf syndrome, okay? What do you want?
Well,
There's like a little summary of that.
can I choose the one that was on the last picture?
This one?
That one, yeah, Stoneman syndrome, yes.
Okay, so Stoneman syndrome. So what you have to do, Caleb, is that you are
Okay.
going to investigate about this information, backgrounds, the symptoms, what you feel with this syndrome, and things that you should or shouldn't do, okay? And create like a little presentation. You can put pictures, information, however you want, okay? A little presentation, okay? While the other ones present their diseases, you can work on this, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Caleb. So let's see. We are having Andrea as the first one today. So Andrea, you may present if you want.
Okay. Can you see the presentation?
Yes.
So hello everyone. I'm going to talk about the congenital insensitivity to pain. This is a disease present from birth that inhibits the ability to perceive physical pain. This may sound kind of good, like don't feel pain at all, but this lack of pain awareness can lead to an accumulation of injuries and health issues that may affect life expectancy. This is a genetic disease, which means that it's caused by genetic change, like some genes don't work correctly. In this case, it's caused by the CSF9 gene and the PMRD12 gene. And this affects the peripheral nervous system, which connects the brain and spinal cord to muscles and to cells that detect the sensations like smell, touch, and pain. Some of the symptoms are the pain insensitivity, where there is no reaction to painful sensation caused by cuts, burns, or injections. Repeated severe injuries and accidental self-injuries, like have a lot of bites on your mouth, on your toes, and on your fingers, and have a lot of scars in your body. And no reaction to extreme temperature, recurrent high fever, lack of corneal reflex, that it's when you blink when something is touching your cornea. And it can cause intellectual disability. And also the doctors may recommend a genetic testing. And this is a disease that doesn't have any cure, but the doctors may recommend patient education that teaches about how to avoid injuries, check themselves for any injuries, and get treatment for these injuries. And also the doctors may suggest preventative medical procedures like the removal of primary teeth to prevent young patients from injuring themselves. This is why I didn't add any picture of this in this presentation, because most of them was like were children who have hurt themselves. So it's something like it's not good to see. And this is all. Thank you.
Okay, pretty nice. Imagine how interesting this disease is. People cannot feel pain. I mean, they get hurt, they can get burned, they can get hit by something, and they don't feel anything. Imagine.
Yeah.
And it is something from birth, right? You don't choose it. Anything happened to you for you to be like this, right? But it is so
Yeah.
strange. Did you know about this disease, Andrea? Did you
No,
know
I
about it?
didn't.
Right.
But I didn't know about this disease.
I knew about it some years ago, because there was a case of a girl, a little girl, who was run over by a car. And she was perfectly fine trying to walk, and she couldn't walk because the car had broken her legs. And she was trying to stand up, but because she didn't feel pain, and everyone was like, what is happening to her? Because she was not crying, she didn't pass out, she was very, very calm. And then they figure out that she had this syndrome. So imagine you can get hurt and you don't even know. Imagine with a big cut on your head and you're in the park walking
Yeah.
very freshly. So okay, so very interesting. Thank you very much, Andrea. Now let's see, who do we have next? Okay, you, Ronnie. Thank you very much.
Okay, let me share my screen.
Okay, Robert is after Ronnie. Okay, don't worry, Robert.
Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Okay. This disease is called oral brewery syndrome. It is a medical disorder in which the stomach converts ingested food, in particular sugars and carbohydrates, into alcohol. Symptoms can be flush skin, dizziness, disorientation, headache, heart, nausea and vomiting, dehydration, dry mouth, retching, memory and concentration problems, humor changes. And between the causes, some types of yeast can cause auto brewery syndrome are Candida albicans, Candida glabrata, Turolopsis glabrata, Crusade sweets. What are the treatment options? You will need to make dietary changes to help treat automatic brewery syndrome while taking antifungal medications. Follow a strict diet, sugar-free, carb-free, without alcohol. You must avoid some foods and simple carbohydrates like corn syrup, high fructose, white bread and pasta, white rice, white flour. Eat plenty of complex carbohydrates that contains more fiber, whole wheat bread and pasta, integral rice, fresh and cooked vegetables, fresh frozen and dried fruits, fresh and dried herbs. Feeling drunk without drinking may not seem like a major health problem. However, it can affect your well-being, safety, relationships, and work. Seek immediate medical attentions. Brewer's syndrome can also be a sign of underlying condition that is out of control. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, very nice. So imagine getting drunk without drinking beer or wine. So you're just, that's something that your body does that you don't even notice, right? And that you cannot control. Because imagine your body chooses to take those type of things and create an alcohol. Okay. So thank you very much, Ronnie. Yes, Robert, you may continue.
Hello. I'm going to share the screen.
Okay, please.
What was the one thing that you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about the Alice in Wonderland syndrome. I don't know if you read the books about Alice in Wonderland, but there was a part in almost in the beginning when she arrives at the at Wonderland and she drinks some potions that make make that she grows and gets smaller, and that's what we are talking about in this syndrome. The perception of the people that have this syndrome is like they are getting smaller or getting bigger. Well, what it is also known as Todd syndrome or dysmetropsia. Is a psychological condition that causes a distortion of perception. People may experience a distortion in visual perception of objects, such as appearing smaller. This is micropsia, or larger. This is macropsia. Or appearing to be closer, pelopsia, or farther, telopsia, than they actually are. Distortion may also occur for senses other than vision. Well, the people that have this syndrome, the perception in all of their senses changes. They see them as they are bigger or smaller, and not only the vision, also their senses. Well, the symptoms, I already mentioned it, but there are the symptoms: macropsia, they seem larger; micropsia, smaller; pelopsia, the objects are near the person; teleopsia are farther; metamorphosia, the change of the objects change for them; impaired time perception, the time transcurs slower or faster for the people that have the syndrome too. It's, I don't know, it's kind of because they are bigger, the time is slower for them, something like that. For their perception, right? And well, the causes is currently unknown, the cause of this syndrome, but it has often been associated with migraines, head trauma, or viral encephalitis caused. It is also theorized that it can be caused by abnormal amounts of electrical activity in the brain, resulting in abnormal blood flow in those parts of the brain which process visual perception and textures. What to do? At present, when in the article that I got this information, it was from 2017. In that time, in actual time, there is no standardized treatment plan. Since symptoms of Alice in Wonderland syndrome often disappear, either spontaneously on their own or with treatment of the underlying disease, like you treat the migraines or the headaches, and the syndrome is gone after a while. Most clinical and non-clinical Alice in Wonderland syndrome cases are considered to be benign or harmless, excuse me. It's a rare condition since 1985, no more than 169 cases description of Alice in Wonderland syndrome have been published. Well, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, Robert, thank you very much. That was a lot of good information. Imagine. So I really like that part that says microplasia, microplasia, and the other three, and the perception of time. Imagine how much that changes. The perception,
Yes.
I mean, not only the perception of of the sizes, like your head bigger or your hand smaller and things like those, but only time. Imagine
Yeah.
how you perceive, how you take, how you feel time. I mean, that is, and we don't know why that happens because we don't know the cause for that syndrome, right? It is just like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe that person hit her head, or we don't know. She had a car accident. We don't know. So there's no a clear cause of this. And imagine getting all of these consequences, these really range consequences. Imagine spending your time in 2 hours and you didn't feel 2 hours. Or maybe
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God, it's been like 4 hours and like 30 minutes only. So imagine that is really amazing. I am really, really amazed. But it is the brain, the
Yes.
way in which the brain works, right?
It's very complicated.
Very complicated. Imagine. Okay. So thank you very much, Robert. Very nice information.
Thanks.
Thank you. Now, who do we have next? Huh? Who do we have next?
Me.
Okay, Carlos. Thank you very much.
Okay, one moment.
Okay. Are you going to present?
Yes.
Oh, your mom is calling you. Oh, your wife, I don't know.
Sorry.
Don't worry.
Can you see the presentation?
Yes. Oh, so nice.
Okay, I'm talking about for foreign accent syndrome. Okay, first of all, uh, what is the foreign accent syndrome? I will give you some medical meaning. Okay, the foreign accent syndrome is a medical condition in which patients develop speech partners that are perceived as a foreign accent that is different from their native accent without having acquired in the perceived accent place of the origin. In Christians, this syndrome is associated for the strokes. It's strokes is like a derrame, I would say in Spanish, but in English is naming a stroke. Okay, when you have some issues with the brain, and for head traumas or bad development in your metabolism. Okay, that could be some cases uh, if you have problem with this kind of syndromes. It's not exactly cause, but uh, that these three is the most accurate, I would say. Okay, and the abbreviation for this syndrome is FAS. Okay, First of all, this syndrome was discovered in 1941 for by Pierre Marie. Pierre Marie was a French scientist, and he discovered this syndrome. After that, in 1919, I I missed that date, but in Czech Republic, some scientists of that country did a deep research, and they found that causes uh, associated with the head trauma or migraine. Okay, after that, in 1999, eh, a most famous case for this syndrome is the Tiffany Noel. She born and raised in Indiana, United States. Okay, she speaks like American, is the native accent, the native language, but she had a stroke, and she got this syndrome. She was talking like a British person, and she never been in British or England or in Europe, I would say. It was very rare case. And in 2008, Cindy Romber, born in Washington, and is the same. She suffered uh, the ram a stroke, a stroke, and she was talking like a Russian person. Is more more is rare, more green than the previous case, because it's like a American person was talking like a Russian. Probably, and according for the information, Cindy never had a connection with some for roots or for parents now. 100% American. Yeah, but she was talking in English, but she she talks with the sound of Russian. I don't know. Okay. What should you do if you have this disease, this syndrome? Some recommendation is you need to do some vocal exercise like a singer. The singers do different vocal exercise with the tongue, with the lips, and in the way of pronunciation when they are singing. Okay, and another recommendation, you should learn again your native language, but checking the movements and of the tongue, like the vowel sounds repeated and listening. But you need to watch how the tongue is moving, and you need to repeat it in order to recover your your native accent. Most of the time, a female is most common to acquire this syndrome. Yes, more than the male. And yes, that's the that's my research about this syndrome. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Carlos. Imagine, I was amazed by the last part that females are more vulnerable, or there's
Yes.
more probability for a female to acquire this syndrome. But imagine that lady that was speaking like a Russian, but in English. So imagine one day you wake up and you're speaking like an Italian, but speaking English. You're like, hello.
Probably that in that way, because the the people with this trauma, with this syndrome, speak, but the sound is with another a foreign sound.
Yes, it is the same language. I mean, they still speak English, but with an accent like if they were from another country,
Yes,
right?
like your example.
Yeah, like imagine that because or French people. French people. Have you ever listened to a French person speaking English? They 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 pronounce things a little bit different, but because French is very different from English, right? Like in Spanish, sometimes we as teachers tend to know a little bit more about pronunciation. But so for example, a Colombian person, imagine they have like I don't know, and they talk like a little bit. We say cantadito, right? So
Yeah.
and you know you're listening to that person speaking English, but you know that that person is Colombian. It is very noticeable. Or a Venezuelan person, you know their nationality, right? Even though they are speaking English. So imagine happening that, and from anything, right? Having a stroke or something, and
There
speaking.
was a girl here at the beginning, right? That was Colombian.
Yeah, and you see, I I knew she was Colombian from the very first second that she spoke. She
Yeah,
was
yeah, me too.
what was the name of this girl?
She
Oh my
has the
god.
fast.
Yes, I don't remember her name. Adriana. It was Adriana. So when I heard her the first time she spoke, I knew she was Colombian, right? Because it is very noticeable. And I believe that people who are not from El Salvador notice that I am from El Salvador when I speak, because maybe, and I know that I have an accent, and they say, "Oh, that teacher is from El Salvador." It is very noticeable, or from Guatemala, or from Mexico, right? We all have in our country we have like a way of speaking, right? Or from
I
Mhm.
excuse me. I have
Yeah,
friends
go
in
ahead.
Mexico that they didn't know that they have accent.
Yes, I didn't know I had an accent. Until a Guatemalan boy told me, "You're from El Salvador, right?" I was like, "How do you know that?" And he told me, "Because you speak cantadito." I was like, "Excuse me, you speak cantadito?" But yes, we have an accent. We don't know because it is very normal for us, right? We listen, everybody speak like this in our environment, right? But for some other people, from people who are not from our country, they notice. Imagine people from Chile. Have you ever listened to people from Chile? They're speaking like really fast. Sometimes I know that even they don't understand each other because they speak really quickly and they like cut the words. Yeah, I go, well, they don't say anything sometimes. I'm like, I was watching a cooking program, and I mean, like 60% of the time I didn't understand. I was like, what? I understood because of the context, and thank God it was cooking, because they were. It was not like a soap opera or something that I had to understand what they were saying. I was looking at them cooking, and that was everything for me, right? But they speak really fast. So imagine I wake up one day speaking like a Chile person. I'm not going to understand myself. Imagine, right? So foreign language, everything, everything is very interesting here, right? All of the diseases that we're looking, right? So we're going to have the next one. Okay, thank you very much, Carlos. That was very interesting because of the language we're listening and learning,
I
right?
I was checking.
Yes.
More information in Latin America is rare. Uh,
Oh,
but
really?
but according for this information, uh, only report 2 cases. On Argentina, probably this person uh, talk like a Colombian or Spanish.
Yes, with a different accent. Argentinian accent is another accent that
Mhm.
is very noticeable, right? And
Yeah.
even they pronounce words and letters differently. For example, the double L or the Y. They say sho, sha. They don't say yo or ya, right? So it is more noticeable. So yes, imagine we speaking like someone from, I don't know, because for example, I believe that El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, we don't have like a very strong accent. I don't believe, because I cannot recognize someone from Honduras. People from Honduras speak like us, and from Nicaragua and Costa Rica. So I cannot say, oh, she's from Nicaragua. No, I might not notice. But someone from Venezuela, imagine, it is very noticeable, right? So imagine one day waking up and speaking like a Colombian or like a Venezuelan. Okay, that may happen. Okay, Carlos says only 2 cases, but we can be the third one. Okay, so let's see, who do we have next?
Me?
Okay, Jose Luis, thank you very much.
I'm so sorry, but my computer was rebooting.
Okay, don't worry. Thank you for coming again. Are you going to share your screen?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
You can see it.
Yes, we can.
Okay. The Hutchinson-Gilford progeria syndrome. What is it? It's a genetic condition characterized by the dramatic, rapid appearance of aging beginning in the childhood. Affected children typically look normal at birth and in early infancy, but then grow more slowly than other children and don't gain weight at the expected rate. They develop a characteristic facial appearance, including prominent eyes, a thin nose with a baked tip, thin lips, a small chin, and protruding ears. And here I have some examples. And the treatment, there's no cure for the progeria, but regular monitoring for her heart and blood vessel, cardiovascular. This may help with managing the child's condition. The therapy may ease or delay some to the signs and symptoms. Treatment depends on the child's condition and symptoms. This may include low dose aspirin, other medications such as stents to lower cholesterol, drugs to lower blood pressure, anticoagulants to help prevent blood clots, and medications to treat headaches and seizures. Physical and occupational therapy, nutrition, high-calorie foods and supplements can help maintain the adequate nutrition. And dental care. Dental problems are common in progeria. Consultation with a pediatric dentist experienced with progeria is recommended. And thanks for paying attention.
Okay, pretty nice. Imagine, this is very interesting, because the body doesn't have like the proportion between time and aging. Because these people, did you see the little boy? He was 12 years old, and he didn't look 12, right? He looked very, very different. So the brain is a very complex part. I mean, it's like the nuclei of our body. And imagine, a very little thing can change many things in our body. Imagine like one disease that said like high blood pressure, and that changed something in our brain, and that change in our brain causes a lot of things. So imagine, it is very, very interesting because of that, because we don't know how small can something be and how many consequences it can take, it can give us, right? So imagine. So, and people, well, kids must deal with that disease because they don't look like everyone else, right? I think that maybe that in the self-esteem of the person that's going to be a little bit difficult. Okay, so thank you very much, Jose Luis. And I think that the last one that we have is Caleb. Okay, Caleb, are you ready?
Well, I have done something. I think I haven't finished, but I can show you what I have done.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's see what you've done in this short time that you have.
Okay. Let me share the screen. Okay, great. Can you see it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I've got the Stoneman syndrome, that is a rare skeletal dysplasia. Okay, and now we're going to understand what dysplasia is. So what is it? The fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva, it's another name of the same syndrome, also known as Stoneman syndrome or Munch-Meyer disease, is a rare connective tissue disorder with autosomal dominant inheritance. That means that it is inheritable from a father to his son or to his daughter. Okay, so the disease condition is characterized by abnormal ectopic ossification of the tendons, ligaments, skeletal muscles, and other soft tissues of the body. There is no involvement of smooth muscles in this disorder. You already know that in the we have 3 types of muscles. We have the smooth ones, the hard ones, and the medium ones. And this syndrome doesn't affect the smooth ones. Okay, so then that's it. It means literally that some of the body tissues, like the muscles, the tendons, or that ones ossify and become bone. Okay, so like the syndrome consists, for example, one of your muscles begins to ossify, and then it becomes like a bone, an extension of bone, and that can be dangerous if it's related to some, like for example, your elbow, because if you have a bone extension there, it can be really bad if you want to move your elbow, for example. So here we have some examples with images. For example, this yellow heterotopic ossification is just one of the cases that this syndrome presents, okay? And then we also have this one at the back. You can see that the tissue has developed right there. Okay, so let's see another symptoms of this syndrome. We have the bilateral hallux valgus, and that literally means that the toes of the feet they just they deviate. Okay, so for example, you can see here that these toes are a little bit crossed, and that's named hallux valgus or bunion. And towards the rest of the toes, due to the prominence of the head of the first metatarsal. The first metatarsal is this bone. Okay, this one and this one. These bones continues to the phalanges of the toe. The phalanges are these bones of the toe, and they just get an inadequate angulation of joint, and that's one of the symptoms of the syndrome. You can see in the picture. Then we also have the heterotopic ossification, okay, and that's this. This white part of the bone is just the heterotrophic ossification, and it's the abnormal growth of bone in the non-skeletal tissues, including muscle, tendons, or other soft tissues. So the growth of the bone, it's like it extends and it joins, for example, to the soft tissue that involves the bone. In this case, is the femur. Okay, and finally we have the pseudoexostosis, and this is also really hereditary, and it's a disorder in which bony growths grow on the bones. And we have, for example, this is an example of pseudoexostosis. You know that you can see that the bony growths in the bone, it's like an extension, and these bumps are not cancerous, but like as I said a few months before, if they are near joints like the elbow, for example, it can be difficult to move, and it can be also really painful. Here we have another example of pseudoexostosis. And that's it. That's the thing I have been already doing since the other people was showing their diseases.
Okay, thank you very much, Caleb. I really liked it. You took advantage of the time that you had, and that was very interesting, right? Imagine getting I mean, we have our bones, right? And imagine getting more bones out of nowhere. I mean, things that should be tissue, like really soft, and to be ligaments and tendons,
Yes.
things for the dexterosity of our body, and for the flexibility of our body, and they
Yeah.
get stuck like a bone. Because imagine on our knee we have a lot of ligaments and tendons. Imagine that getting like a bone, you're
They solidify.
be like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a really bad looking disease, because I have searched for some images, some pictures, and I didn't want to put them because they were a little bit painful to see. So I have put these pictures, and they were just some pictures scanned with some radiographical machines or something like that.
Yes.
And they aren't as painful to see as the other ones.
Yes, I imagine. Because I mean, in X-ray it may look like, oh, like black and white, but in real life it may be like a little bit more impacting, right? To look at this, look at these pictures. Okay, but a very interesting one. Okay, so thank you very much. So imagine how many strange diseases that we didn't know about, because I knew about like 3 or 4 only, and the other ones I didn't know about them. So they were very interesting. So thank you very much, people. We are going to finish our class a little bit early today, okay? So we can continue tomorrow with a new topic, okay? So thank you very much for being in the class, for your beautiful presentations. I like them very much. You have to give me the templates, because they are very beautiful. I really like them. So thank you, people. And thank you for the information that you searched, okay? Very interesting information, very vital information about those diseases, okay? So we are going to see each other tomorrow, people. Thank you very much. And have a wonderful rest of the night, okay? Thank you very much.
Bye, teacher. Good night.
Hey, teacher, good night. Thanks.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Good
Have a
night.
good
See you
night.
tomorrow. Thank
Bye.
you. Good
Bye.
night. Bye-bye.